What's happening, everybody? Beast of the East, Jonathan Perriente. Mouth of the South, John Schiavone. This is Downtown Sports. This is where sports come home.
I hate when you don't tell me what we're going to talk about before we go on air, Beast.
I mean, look, I was hoping we would finally have our last final piece of discussion on the FIFA World Cup, and we're going to.
Listen, we're going
We're
to
going
next
to.
episode, I
Next
know,
episode, we
but
will have that opportunity. Yeah.
you wanted to come on before we did this, and you said we have to talk about some shit.
Yeah.
Was your exact words,
Right.
and
And
then you
it's a very
proceeded
it's
to
very
hit
important
record.
shit. It's very important
You
shit, and I think
you
we need.
proceeded to then hit record.
Yeah. And do
So
you know why? Because this is
no, I
major.
don't.
This is major. This is you know, we were once, we were brought up on the notion, and we still are, I think, but I'm
I
starting to
wasn't
wonder if
done
we are
with my
not.
Luke Cornett yet. Come on. I wasn't done with Luke yet.
When are you gonna have your Wemby? When's going to be the Wemby cigarette? When's the Wemby cigar coming down?
We finished Wemby a long time ago.
All
Now,
right.
look, we're ready. We're ready on the
What
bench
about
players.
Harper?
Like
What about the Harper cigarette? What about Harper?
that's coming up. That's coming up
You
more
did your
towards the start of
Fox.
the
All right,
year.
so you did your Fox already. You did your Wemby.
Now we're on Luke.
What about our man Castle? What about Mr. Castle?
Never Mr. Castle.
Never Mr. Castle. Okay, I understand. Okay.
Because his family is from Far Rockaway. Never Mr. Castle.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. Now, I needed to bring up something today because we were always taught, and we always grew up on the notion that ESPN was the center point of all sports, right? We
You
grew
do
up
remember
watching
they used to
sports
play.
center.
You do remember they used to play AWA wrestling back when
Yes,
Vern Gagne was
right.
almost finished running it into the damn
Oh,
ground and Larry Zabisco was
Vern
champ.
Gagne was one of the
So
best wrestlers in AWA and just one of the best wrestlers in the world that we ever had. You
yeah,
know,
unfortunately he was terrible at running a wrestling promotion.
well, it's different being a wrestler to running a promotion. Okay, Triple H is now doing that, and how do you think WWE is doing under Triple H?
Don't answer that. Don't have the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
especially when TKO has a share in the company. That's a big problem. But okay, but that's a different topic entirely. And now ESPN is doing WWE a little bit. They're really putting them into the forefront of things, and that's cool.
Bailey is wrestling in AAA.
Yeah. Well, you know
That's all
what?
you need to know.
I am starting to get worried that that's exactly the direction ESPN today is going. They're not that sports channel that we grew up watching anymore. And when you hear about the layoffs that have taken place today, I think it will definitely give you a clear conscience of the direction of where this once great network is going.
Hold on, we got friends that still work there.
Yeah,
Shouts to John McLeod,
yeah,
shouts to Don LaGreca. We
yeah,
got friends there.
yeah. Well, so
Adam
far,
Media's still around there.
from what I know so far, those guys are fine. We're not worried about the producers or the camera folk or anybody that work behind the scenes. We're talking about the on-air talent. I know Don LaGreca does on-air, but he's fine. But no, we're
Okay.
looking at the talent specifically because let's just say ESPN was recently, another company. ESPN kind of bought up another company and when you buy up a company, when you partner up with another company now, like in this case,
They partnered up with WWE and bought their pay-per-view rights, so they spent a lot of money for that.
no,
I know that.
they also earlier in the year, ESPN acquired the NFL Network.
What?
Oh yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, early in January of this year, distribution rights to NFL Red Zone and NFL Fantasy. ESPN
Gee,
acquired the network and all those league media assets in addition. And
ESPN should immediately get out of betting markets.
and on top of that, the NFL received a 10% equity stake in ESPN.
ESPN needs to immediately close its sports books, close fantasy books, like any
Mm.
paid fantasy,
Well,
they need to close it.
will they close the door on many of their NFL related talent that we've been watching on television? You know what was even more upsetting about this? Some of these talents were fired middle of the show. Mid-show, some of these talents got let go Like
Mid
1 minute
show.
they're
Oh, wait a minute. I heard about this. Ryan Clark got fired mid
yes,
show,
yes,
supposedly.
he's one of them. Ryan Clark was let go. Ryan Clark,
Mid show.
yes, Ryan Clark was he
How
was.
did that even happen? How does that happen?
How does that happen? I
Especially when your parent company is Lord Mouse.
well, he was laid off. He was laid off yesterday. Yeah, in the middle of his own show.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and
How
there's been a
how
lot of
is that
outrage.
even no, forget outrage. How is that even possible? Like
I
how
I guess maybe they must have gone to a commercial. That's probably why they would fire you. Maybe they fire you before they go to commercial break. Okay, go to a commercial break, and then suddenly Ryan Clark is not there.
yeah, that would be how we would get fired.
Mm,
Right? Like imagine like we're on air, all of a sudden we just get pulled and you
yeah,
know
yeah.
somebody else would just show up
How true.
and take over and that would be it. We'd be gone and somebody else
Oh
would just be
well,
right
Ryan Clark.
there.
Well, I hate to say Ryan Clark was not the only one let go. There was a lot more. A lot more got let go, and not just only in
Were they
football.
fired in the middle of their own show?
I don't know about fired middle of the show, but here, another guy, another football player, and Ryan Clark should know him well because they face each other very often in the AFC North. Come on, I think you know who I'm going to. Another guy that played defense besides Ryan
Ray
Clark.
Lewis, they let Ray Lewis go.
No, not him. No,
No, who?
Bart
Okay,
Scott. Bart Scott.
okay. That I mean,
Bart Scott. No, no. Bart Scott's very knowledgeable with sports. I've watched him on the
yes, he
NFL
is.
live shows. And look, he's still on SNY. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
SNY is still where he's going to be. That's fine. But
and
ESPN let go of him.
well, Bart Scott was honestly he's wasted on an ESPN panel. He should just have his own show
He does.
where he describes defense and
didn't he
just
have a he had a show on the Fan if I'm not mistaken, didn't he?
yeah, he was actually good.
Okay, well there you go.
I don't know
But
why they would ever. I don't know why they ever took him off the air. He was actually damn good
there's
at what
more.
he did.
And there's more than that. There's been a whole sweeping line of changes. Tom Pelissero got let go. Carl
Okay,
Ravitch got let go.
okay.
Cam Newton got let go.
Of course he got let
And obviously, of course, again, the all this, of course. Let's see. There was another gentleman. I read the name. Oh, here, David Lloyd got let go.
go. Oh
Charles
wow.
Charles Davis let go. Stefania Bell, who does fantasy football and injury updates, she got let go. Dan Hejducky, staff writer, and Andreas Hale, combat sports reporter. All right, that's 10 right there. That's already 10 top talents on ESPN gone. And you know who's still there? Pat McAfee, Stephen A., Mina Kimes.
Yeah.
ESPN is clearly going to build their this new reformed network now. There's around these three.
Well, they're also probably going to look to get cheaper talent because you know what? Nobody necessarily wants to hear the opinions of former football players. They're looking into influencers. They're looking into podcasters. They're looking into gaining the voices that people are actually listening to. They want to know. They want
Well,
to know what guys like us think.
well, the chairman
To
of
be honest,
ESPN,
this is our shot. I mean, maybe they want to call us up.
but everything that's been happening so far, this has all been in direct relation to the acquisition of the NFL Network, which ESPN acquired. So
Well,
obviously, when you're when
now
you're
they
gonna
have to
when you're gonna when
integrate.
you're gonna get a share of a company, you're gonna buy the stake equity of a company. It's gonna mean we have to cut some threads. We have to let go of
Well,
pieces, and that's
you have to
rough.
understand. Now they're going to integrate NFL Network talent onto ESPN.
If that's
So
exactly the direction they're going with this, I
why wouldn't it
I just
be?
hate that it had to
The
come at the cost of a couple very good names that we've grown up over the years watching on NFL, watching on the morning shows, watching on the Get Ups, on with Stephen A. and all the company in the morning. I was used to watching Bart Scott in the morning at times. I
I
was
know.
used to watching Ryan Clark on NFL Live. And
I
I
know.
and I and I respect their insight. I'll tell you this, Ryan Clark wasn't afraid to say what was on his mind. Neither was Bart Scott.
I know.
And
But do you know
suddenly
what?
they let him go.
And suddenly they're probably going to make a lot more money going online, probably working for DraftKings or Underdog.
If that's the avenue they go, I mean,
I mean,
I
they
couldn't say.
should. That's the avenue they should freaking go. Why wouldn't they
Yeah.
go to a DraftKings or an Underdog
Well,
or, a place where people are actually listening?
well,
To me, it's getting to a point where terrestrial media, and I know if one of the big terrestrial media stations called us and offered us a job and paid us money, we'd take it right now. Obviously, we would.
mm,
But if you're looking at the future of media, sports talk, the way that we do this business, um, it's moving towards where we are and where we've been beast. It's this podcast space. It's Spotify. It's Spotify for podcast. It's all the platforms that we're on.
if they're
It's where
starting to pay
we've
us,
been innovating.
if they're starting to pay us that attention that I feel we have earned, and maybe we've been waiting for some time. Yeah, for if you're a podcaster, this is good. I'm not saying podcasters shouldn't be looking forward to
What I'm
this.
saying is, what I'm saying is, a lot of these names are going to start to move towards where ears are and
Yeah.
where ears have been,
I mean, these
and
guys
where
have been
they're
doing
really
podcasts.
starting to migrate for
I
years.
mean, Ryan Clark, I believe, has been doing his own podcast already, so it's not like this is like unfamiliar turf for him.
No, but now they're going to really invest in their own
Yeah,
stuff
and they're going to be their own
versus
boss, and they're going to be their own boss.
like, look, Ryan Lumberg did it. Shouts to Ryan
Okay.
Lumberg. I
Yes.
mean, he's done it. Keith McPherson now works part-time at the Fan
Yeah.
to run his own media
Well, look at
stuff.
the whole of John.
And
Look at all of John Boy Media. Look at John Boy.
I mean, hell, look at Rob and the Professional Fanatics. Look at what they're doing
Yes.
over there. Look at what we're trying to do here. We've just been very patient with launching YouTube.
Shout out to a couple of my other friends who do podcasts as well. Shout out to my man Ivan Morabel, the 27 Outs podcast, a baseball podcast that he does on an everyday basis. Shout out to my man Mike Steffens, the Salty Thoughts podcast. Big shout outs to those two for the work
Oh
that
yeah,
they
and
do.
by the way, check out Mike's story. He's got a college football podcast. When you go on the Professional Fanatics YouTube page, it's linked there as well. You
Okay.
can check them out. So
Sounds great.
he does a college football podcast. It's all about college football.
Yep.
Check that shit out. If you want to know anything and everything about college football, you go there. So basically, these guys are going to move into our world.
Charles Davis was also let go. I forgot to mention he was another NFL. All right, but this is a guy that's been with the NFL Network, and he got laid off.
Yeah, so it's now happening. How many layoffs in the NFL Network? I want to know. I bet you that's been pretty
Well,
underreported.
I mean, as of right now, it's only been about 10 that I just shared with you from the names I had just mentioned.
From ESPN, but not the NFL Network.
So far, the NFL Network, I think just only Davis has been the one that I have heard.
Okay.
There haven't, again, they haven't really gone through much more of this yet, but again, this is all via the finalization of the total deal was $3 billion to give the NFL the 10% equity stake in ESPN, and also combining the operations of the NFL Network into Disney. Now, Jimmy Pitaro, who is
Into what?
into the network's parent company, Disney. Well, ESPN and Disney, they've been pretty much they're pretty much kind of the same merged company, if you will.
No, but hold up. So wait a minute. I'm going to be
Yes.
able to go to Disney World, place a bet
Yeah.
on the NFL while getting a pair of Mickey Mouse ears and having a giant turkey leg while walking through Magic Kingdom.
Well, to give you a little, all right,
Welcome to America. Isn't this the greatest country in the world?
so to give you an idea,
No,
So
I actually mean that when I say it.
yeah, so
We are
so now
actually the greatest
with some
country
of
in
the
the
moves that
world,
I've
but
with people
this is
like
not the reason why, ladies and gentlemen.
so as I said with the changes, this includes First Take, Kyle Brandt, who is on the NFL Network. He's going to be moving into a weekly role on First Take. And then Peter Schrager will join the fold of ESPN as well. So the shuffling is happening.
Yep.
It's happening pretty quickly. And again, how do I feel about this? I mean, yes, some of the talent are still there, but Carl Ravitch, who did baseball and who literally did baseball tonight and things for, and was part of the network for 30 plus years, and they're just going to just let him go.
Well, them's the
What if
breaks.
Scott Van Pelt's
And
next? What if Scott Van Pelt is next?
I mean,
I watched I do here and there watch the midnight edition of Scott Van Pelt right at the end, usually at the tail end of all the sporting events for the night. Van Pelt's right on the air for the midnight hour.
well, he's the West Coast 10 p.m. So I really don't think you're going to lose Scott Van Pelt.
No, I wouldn't say that, but still, I'm
You
going
have
to
to
be
think
very.
about California. We're not the only market.
I know that, but to get to the main piece of where I'm going, I mean, I think it's rough that that some of this talent we grew up watching now to see them leave. I'm not saying the new talent aren't going to do a good job. I'm sure. Look, ESPN will bring in good people. I'm not doubting that. And look, maybe is this merger with NFL Network good in the long run? I'll believe it when I see it. I hope it will be. I hope it'll be successful. But then I have to wonder: is ESPN going to do the same with all the other networks? Is ESPN going to buy MLB Network? Are people from MLB going to get let go or something like that? And we're going to see more turnover there because MLB Network has several former ESPN people on their show now, just as ESPN took some MLB Network's guys. So there's been that kind
Well,
of shuffle around.
here's all I'll say about this entire situation. First off, I keep repeating this point, and I don't know why you're not addressing it with me.
Okay.
ESPN needs to let go of all of their sports books immediately, especially now that the NFL has a 10% stake in
I
ESPN.
don't know if they're even going to do that because they look at fantasy and hey, fantasy makes money. You think
The
ESPN's going?
NFL cannot own a 10% stake in ESPN if ESPN has a sports book.
So you're suggesting that the fantasy will have to be
That's
taken over?
illegal.
Well, then ESPN better
That
make a
is
note of that.
literally illegal.
I hope they made a note of that because then where's fantasy? So then fantasy is going to have to be bought up by somebody else. But who will take over it?
Forget fantasy. Forget the fantasy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the damn sports book itself, ESPN Sportsbook.
Well, you might want to start saying your goodbyes to it then. Then I guess you'll have
No, they're still running it.
for now.
And no one, not for now. No one's talking about this.
Probably by the time they do,
Not a
it'll
single soul
it'll
has
probably be
brought
too
it
late by
up.
the time they do. It'll probably be way too late by the time they even do.
I am not making I am not betting a cent on anything ESPN or NFL fantasy. Nothing. Nope. Don't do it because I am not getting in. You don't want your money tied up in some weird ass class action.
Yeah, we've already had enough
Where
gambling. We already had enough gambling lawsuits going on throughout the past year, particularly in the NBA. We've already had that
Yep.
nonsense going down.
You already have Caesar's sports books, like, not wanting to pay out parlays. Like, yeah, how many times this would be perfect? This would be the perfect excuse for ESPN to say, oh, well, we were illegal, so we can't pay out your parlay. Sorry, here's your money back.
Hmm.
Could you imagine? I could.
Well,
Imagine Mickey. I could just imagine Mickey Mouse going, oh, boy, you're not getting your parlay.
I rather sound like the South Park Mickey Mouse more than the one you just tried. That didn't even. I don't know what Mickey Mouse that even was. I just heard. I don't know what Mickey Mouse that even was. I rather hear the South Park. I like the South Park one better.
That was the Mickey Mouse who holds the gambling chips and all the money at the table, saying hell no with Donald Duck with the baseball bat ready to break your knees if you complain any further.
Oh God. Well, it's like when Foghorn Leghorn always got beat up by his little chick friend on to the left of him. Oh my god! Every time he babbled too long. You know where I'm going with that with Foghorn. Okay.
Exactly. No, but did you? But literally, this is like this is about as much sense as the NFL owning 10% of ESPN makes because ESPN has a sports book.
Yeah. Well, do you not think the other leagues will start following suit? You think maybe MLB Network will do the same? You think maybe NHL will do something similar? Maybe FIFA, right? Maybe NCAA will
Um,
join the helm.
I'm sure FIFA's next. Only FIFA would be this idiotic.
Well,
Definitely from what Matt O'Boyle's telling us about FIFA, and definitely next episode, we're going to find out exactly
mm,
everything,
yeah. Well,
everything about what happened.
In 2034, Saudi Arabia is hosting the World Cup. That should be quite fun. And FIFA makes a lot of money from the Saudi Arabias, from Qatar, from the big Arab
Oh,
nations. They make a
Riyadh.
lot of money from those countries with the billions that they invest. No joking around.
Welcome to Riyadh.
Mm.
Welcome to New York. It's like welcome to Riyadh. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
they bought WWE, Madden, EA. The Saudis own everything you like.
next year,
It's great.
that's where WrestleMania will be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Next year, WrestleMania goes to Saudi Arabia.
Can AEW get good, please? I
I'd like
want
to
to
think AEW
see.
has. I'd like to think in a way AEW already kind of has. I mean, trust me, my brother never lets me hear the end of it. He always keeps, oh, WWE's booking's terrible.
It is.
They do the same. They shove the same garbage storylines down our throat. AEW changes it up every week, and he's not wrong when he says that. I'm not
He's
blaming him
not,
for it.
but you know what?
I just wish AEW would develop their own talent to
AEW,
an extent, a little better.
here's the thing. AEW changes it up every week because they can't find a formula. WWE doesn't change it because they're afraid to change it because they finally found something that works other than John Cena.
Even when AEW, they feel like sometimes they know AEW is giving them competition. Maybe indirectly, WWE doesn't know that, but AEW is giving them competition. Maybe trying to even
I don't
surpass them.
I don't think WWE minds that. I think that I think WWE understands that that actually helps.
Hmm. Well, as you know, WWE now has done a lot of involvement with ESPN now over the years. Now you're seeing,
Another
they
reason
become
why
more
they have to.
mainstream. They become much more mainstream through ESPN.
Yep, and ESPN has to pay TKO and WWE a lot of money to get all of that content on their
Yeah,
channel.
well, you see,
Another
like now,
reason
even the
why
premium live
all of
events now,
these.
all the premium live events are going through ESPN's channels and etc.
Yep. Another reason why ESPN has to fire a lot of these people because they have to pay a lot of money to TKO for WWE
So
content.
they're shifting from basically the sports journalist show. Maybe they're not even going to tell us, but I think we already can see it based on the people that have been let go. They're going away from the professional side of the sports and the journalism side, and now they're going more to the entertainment side. Why do you think Pat McAfee and Stephen A. and Mina Kimes are still there? Why have they not been let go? They won't
Well,
let him go, obviously. Stephen A., they definitely won't let go because he's the heart and soul of ESPN right now. He's their centerpiece. They build around everything
I
around
mean,
him.
look, shouts to him. I mean, he gave me a lot of big ups early on in my career, but you know,
Mm.
it is what it is. It is about the entertainment. It's about what keeps
You know,
people watching
he didn't like the Clark. He didn't
and
like that Clark was let go either. He didn't. Stephen A. made it very clear. I get it. It's a business, but you know, Stephen A. and Ryan Clark were pretty good buds. They really respected each other's opinions, and they had good. They really had good chemistry on first take. I know. I'd seen
it
it.
doesn't matter when you spend a lot of money to buy WWE content, when you spend a lot of money to buy the NFL network, and then when the NFL in turn buys 10% of your channel, and then, owns part of your sports book.
The crazy part is ESPN doesn't even have an equity stake in WWE. That's the crazy thing. They don't even have an equity stake. But what they do have in the Disney's ESPN anyway, they have the exclusive domestic media rights to stream all of WWE's marquee premium live events, which includes
Yep.
Mania, SummerSlam, which is coming up, by the way, in a few weeks, and the Royal Rumble, currently under a 5-year, $1.6 billion contract.
Yeah, yeah. They paid $1.6 billion for 5 years of
Yes.
WWE.
That's a lot. That's a lot of money. I get it. It's a lot of investment for 5 years. I get it.
And there's where all the money went.
And ESPN has to pay an average of $325 million a year.
Yep.
So put
There
that
you
all
go.
together. So total that 325 per year to total 1.6 billion. And now you add the 10% stake with the NFL, and you're adding the purchase of the NFL Network, which was another $4
There you
billion.
go. And that's why Ryan Clark gets fired midway through the show. Has nothing to do with anything he said or anything he did or
Some were
what
kind of
anybody
throwing that. Some of them were
felt.
kind of throwing that around. That
No.
that comment he made with Peter Schrager got him let go. No, that's not what got
No,
him let go. It's not.
it has everything to do with WWE and the price tag of WWE and the fact that the pay-per-view sales didn't go as well as they thought.
So they thought running them through ESPN would make it better.
Well, no. WWE is fine. They have
Yeah.
their money.
Yeah.
ESPN is trying to make their money back by selling pay-per-view.
Yeah. What they don't realize is
well.
it's going to tank them. So basically, we're looking at the fact that ESPN is pretty much in debt.
They're going back to putting pro wrestling on in order to save their network.
Yeah, so they're basically in the crapper. That's basically what we're trying to say. They're in the crapper.
And not to hate on pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling.
Of course.
It's just that this is like when they put AWA on.
Yeah, but WWE had its own network. That's the crazy thing. Remember 2012 WWE Network? Remember that? They had AWA, they had WCW and ECW, all those mixed shows kind of all thrown in there.
They should have never did that. That's what began the beginning of the end of that. And that's what ended that. That's what made them have to become an entity of another company. And now they're being put broadcast rights for pay-per-view streaming.
Well, that fell on Vince. Well, that fell on Vince McMahon for making that mistake. That fell on Vince.
I don't know. All I know is this. ESPN spent $1.6 billion on professional wrestling, and that's why Ryan Clark.
That's just on the premium live events.
Fired in the middle of his show.
That's just on the main pay-per-views, the premium live events. That's what they spent the money on. Forget that it was on even the company itself. They don't own, as I said, ESPN doesn't own a stake in WWE. They just made that 5-year deal for the premium live events. That's what they did.
That costs more money than any content that they have on their channel right now.
So what I have to wonder is obviously, are there going to be more than just the 10 people we mentioned that ESPN laid off? Is there going to be more? Obviously, Hannah Storm retired. That's a big loss for ESPN. There, another heart and cornerstone of their network. But she didn't get laid off. She just retired. She decided it was time to leave. It's bad enough that Stuart Scott passed away, because he was a heartbeat of ESPN for many years, was Stuart Scott.
Yes, he was. That was the beginning of that. Was like, when you look back, that starts to be the beginning of the slow descent of that network.
And the retirement back. Well, this is for about 7 years. About 7 years back, the retirement of Bob Lee, another heart and cornerstone of ESPN. I get it,
but here's the thing, though. When your executives decide that they're going to spend $1.6 billion to acquire the pay-per-view rights of WWE and the NFL Network within the same 18-month span.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to retain staff. You're just not going to.
Yeah. No.
You're all about the entertainment. You're all about, like, putting on content that sounds like podcasts, but you're putting it on your channel. You want guys that sound like radio shows. You want influencer sounding people that you could pay less money because, they could sell product.
I've
And
had to
you
look.
really
The
don't
fact that
gotta pay them set up or
the fact that
anything.
WFAN even had, I give them credit. They had the balls to bring on. I'm sure you know this gentleman I'm going to talk about. My brother likes to call him, and some maybe I do call him the Wailing Whale, the big Met fan, Mr. Frank Fleming. Right? You've heard of him, right? Never heard of Frank Fleming?
Wait a minute.
He was on WFAN. The fan had him on just days ago. Like during their little fan fest, I think, when they were at the fan fest event or something like that.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. You can watch the videos. Go look it up. WFAN, Frank Fleming, right there with Lou Gower, and I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was Tommy Lou Gower, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Bringing up stuff. He was with Carton also, right there with Carton as well.
Okay.
Fleming was making his take about Lindor and, why the Mets were trying to get rid of him and maybe the Mets were trying to throw him out or the politics with Soto. Yeah, Fleming was on for that particular discussion. And, Frank's a very passionate Met fan. He definitely isn't afraid to say his piece when the Mets lose games. Forget when they win games. When they lose games, he goes crazy.
Well,
he goes crazy. I'll sell this team. Ownership stinks. Steve Cohen this. Lindor's this. And Bo Bichette this. And almost like he's about to pop a blood vessel. I'm dead serious. You should see him when he's mad.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is why I try to focus on other things. I try to find other things to fill my time in the summer.
Well, I've been seeing.
I know if I watch baseball, I'm just gonna get sick.
Then I see content creation. Another guy that appeared, by the way, at the Fanatics Fest, and he was on ESPN. He's a young street ball player. If you haven't heard of him, MK. Mm-hmm. They call him MK. Have you heard of him before? Matt Kiatipis.
Yes.
You've seen his videos. I've been watching his videos. I'm sure you have. Basically challenges regulars to a game of one-on-one street ball, the half-court version of basketball that you probably see.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah, MK will bounce balls off their head. He'll pull shirts over their head. He'll call foul when he gets a little shove. He'll try to kind of likes to influence the rules a little bit of when he plays his opponents, certain ones, if you will. But then when he faces somebody that's of decent quality to him, that has the better ball skills than him, he gets killed easily. But he'll face some random schlub, blow him out 5-0. And he trash talks quite a lot. He's a big trash talker too. On top of that, okay. But and now he appears at FanFest, ESPN's, and all that. He was at the World Cup, by the way, as well. He was at Rucker Park. He was in Greenpoint, West 4th Park as well. He's been making all these appearances. He travels the world. He doesn't not just only here in New York or in his native Canada. He goes to Greece. He goes to Brazil. He goes to Italy, taking on every bit of street ball talent around the world. And it's really put him on the map as far as his content creation, which is something somebody like him doesn't do. A lot of people don't do. So he's kind of introduced that in a good way too. I'm not denying that that's not. He didn't believe though that the NBA grind was something he could do. He did play basketball in college and all that. And he played internationally for a time. But he felt going this direction was, I think, better for his stake. And, it was a way for him to generate more, to generate money for himself.
Dude knew his limits. Hey, look, dude knew his limits, and good for him.
All right, fair enough. But but now you see what's happening here. Those couple names, Frank Fleming, Matt MK, and there's others, of course, not just him. The content, do you feel like the content creation is now beginning to take over? Are we starting to see the
I
takeover of
mean,
content creation more than we probably
starting to
had before?
see, bro, it's been.
But
It's
maybe not,
been.
but not in the light we're seeing now. Maybe,
It's
it was probably like in the,
been.
well, I think
It's
it's,
been, and now it's getting to the point where it's starting to be the main. The difference is, though, it's starting to be where people mainly get their information,
and now
or
you
at
have,
least their entertainment information.
so now I eventually, I guess we have to wonder, people like us could be next to get to get on the wagon. We could be the next ones up. Isn't it not realistic?
Bro, we are where sports come home.
Yes.
We do speak to some of the coolest people.
And we've been very fortunate to have every
Um,
one of them here. We've been very
yeah,
fortunate to
we
get
have.
whoever we have.
Yeah, bro. Like, Uncle Lion, Uncle Kenny, shouts to you guys. Thank you so much for coming on this program,
To
this
Noah as
little
well. Shout out to
tiny
Noah, Brian,
program.
Hoke, all of them.
Yep. Everybody that's come on. Shout outs to Homicide.
Yep, I remember.
Shout outs to shout outs to shout outs to Wayne Randazzo,
To Mike McCann,
Matty
Matt
O'Boyle.
O'Boyle,
Shout outs to all you
everyone,
guys. Shout
everyone.
outs to the Professional Fanatics family.
Always.
Yes, even Dr. Ray.
God bless him.
Yes,
God
even
bless
Dr.
Dr.
Ray.
Ray. God bless him. So, with that, I think that's a good way to kind of put a bow on this special rant edition, or impromptu edition, I
Here's the
guess, if you
thing.
will.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The one thing I'm going to say about this, you want to just wrap this up. Here's what it is. Everybody's wondering, oh, is it because Ryan Clark did this or this one did that or
No,
that one did this or this one did that?
Brian Clark did nothing wrong. It's not something
No.
Ryan Clark did.
Here's what happened. ESPN decided to buy NFL Network
Mm-hmm.
and the
Premium live events.
broadcast rights for the
Mm-hmm.
premium live events for WWE at a cost of $1.6 billion over 5 years. $325 million a year. We're basically paying out a Frank. ESPN is basically paying out a Frankie Lindor contract every year for WWE content. I repeat, ESPN is paying out a Frankie Lindor full contract every single year for WWE premium live content.
Mm.
And they are expecting to make it all back plus profit via advertisement and
Marketing, content, all of that.
and buying pay-per-view revenue.
Well,
Going back to a business model that hasn't been used since the late 2000s into the early 2010s with the introduction of the WWE network.
Yeah. Well, for ESPN's
Good luck!
For ESPN's sake, I hope this doesn't fall flat on their face. Even though I think it
That's
might
why
already be.
Ryan
I think
Clark,
it might already be.
Well, that's why Ryan Clark got fired in the middle of his show.
Well,
Because they
as
couldn't
did he
afford
and
to
every
pay
other
him
talent
beyond.
that made this network, that made ESPN what it was.
Well, because they couldn't afford to pay him beyond the middle of the show. They ran out of money.
Mm.
That's what happened.
Mm. Yes. Well, with that, that's going to do it for this special rant edition of Downtown Sports. I want to thank Chris DeLarge. I want to thank Tony Mainville. We'll have Matt O'Boyle join us tomorrow to recap the finals and the third place game of the FIFA World Cup and give us a little more insight. He shared some nice insight with me off the air of some of the talent, and I may have a little story to share with you as well of one of my workers who brought up a story about a soccer player that he couldn't believe but played in the final of the World Cup, but had his beginnings at a camp that he did. I'll talk about that when we have Matt O'Boyle on tomorrow. I will dive into the full specifics of that.
But are we also going to talk about how the two soccer experts got it wrong and I film studied and got it right?
Well, congratulations on picking the correct winner. Okay, I thought I thought we were going to see the story. I thought we were going to see one side actually finish their story. Matt shared me about how one team really didn't have a narrative going in or a storyline going into the World Cup. But we'll dive into all of that. We will talk about all of that tomorrow on Downtown
Oh, I
Sports.
can't wait.
You can
I
listen to
cannot
Downtown
wait.
Sports. We're on 24 different platforms. We're on Spotify, Spotify for Creators, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Bullhorn, Podbay, Listen Notes, Podcast Addict, Verbal, Castro.fm, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, Podvine, Podyssey, Odyssey, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, TuneIn, YouTube, and TikTok. Episodes, rants, digital market battles, specials every week. We are Downtown Sports, and we are where sports come home.
You know, every time you don't tell me what we're about to talk about and you hit record, it's always some
I gotta keep you on your toes. Maybe I'll bring us.
crazy, industry changing, insane bullshit that just completely changes the landscape of everything we do.
Looking at what I got on, I got Washington and sunglasses. All right,
Look at what I got on.
that's supposed to be the
Well, hold
Joker.
on.
Was that supposed to be the Joker?
It is the Joker.
Yes, I figured it was. I could see by
Ha
the
ha
ha-has
ha
and the
ha ha.
laughing. Yes.
Yup.
Shout out.
Kind of appropriate.
Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Rest in peace to you, Heath Ledger.
Well,
Yes, believe I'm wearing the traditional president that stood for all the right and good that founded America.
yes.
Anyway, for the mouth of the South, John Schiavone, Beast of the East, Jonathan Pariente, saying goodbye and good night.
We're out. Thanks for listening.